Test 4 review. Show work to get full credit. This is due before the test. Number 1. 2C. The table represents subpoints on the graph of a linear function. Write an equation in slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b. Hint, use Vernier Data Quest. So you're going to go to your calculator, click the green beaker. Let's clear out any tabs that we may have open. Press Control W, no. Click the table, put in the x values into the x column, put the y values into the y column. After you're done with that, click the middle icon that has a graph. Click Menu, 4 Analyze, 6 Curve Fit, 1 Linear. Now we have our slope M and our y-intercept b. So we have y equals mx plus b, y equals 2.17x plus b, which is 8.17. And that is your equation in slope-intercept form. Number 2, 2C. Researchers in Antarctica discovered a warm sea current under a glacier that is causing the glacier to melt. The ice shelf of the glacier had a thickness of approximately 210 meters when it was first discovered. The thickness of the ice shelf is decreasing at an average rate of 0.07 meters per day. Write a function in slope-intercept form that can be used to find the thickness of the ice shelf T of x in meters x days since the discovery. So here we want to highlight some key words. The word first is a key word. That is representing the y-intercept. The initial amount is the y-intercept. Decreasing is telling us that it's negative. Average rate, that is the slope. Meters per day. So first is going to be B, that's 210. Average rate, that's M, we know it's decreasing, so that's a negative. Negative 0.07 meters per day. So if we have y equals mx plus b, we have m, which is negative 0.07, x plus b, which is 210. And that's our slope-intercept form. You may also see the answer as t of x equals 210 minus 0.07x. These two equations are equivalent. They are the same thing. We just reordered the terms. Number 3, 3C. The graph of linear function is shown on the grid. X-intercept, that's when it crosses the x-axis. That's right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5, 0. That's your x-intercept. The 0 is x equals 5, because when y is 0, x is 5. This graph is decreasing, so that means we have a negative slope, so we're going to put a minus sign right there. Let's find two lattice points. Right here, right here. Let's make a triangle. Our squares are skip counted by 1, so let's count. 1, 2, 3. 3 is our rise. Let's count our run. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have 3 over 5. Negative 3/5 is our slope. Let's write a point slope equation using the point -5, 6. So that's this point right here that we're going to use. So we have y minus y1, which is 6, equals your slope m, negative 3 over 5, parentheses, x minus negative 5. The two negatives make a positive, so x plus 5. And your b, your y-intercept, let's go ahead and label that point. We have 0, 3. So b is plus 3. So your slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b, is y equals negative 3/5 x plus 3. And that's your slope-intercept form. Number 4, 12e. Convert this point slope equation, y minus 7 equals 1/2 parentheses x plus 8, into slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b. So our first step, we want to distribute. Multiply each term by 1/2. 1/2 times 1x is 1/2 x, and 1/2 times 8, half of 8 is 4, so plus 4. Carry down the other part of the equation, the expression y minus 7. So y minus 7 equals 1/2 x plus 4. To get y by itself, to isolate it, we want to get rid of this minus 7. So to get rid of a minus 7, we put a plus 7 on each side of the equation. You're adding 7 to each expression. So we have y equals 1/2 x plus 11. And that is our slope-intercept form. 5. 2d. The value of y varies directly with x. If x equals 4, then y equals 28. What is the value of x when y equals 84? So first, we want to highlight the word directly. Directly means that it's a direct variation. You're going to set a proportion. Let's box our important numbers. We have x equals 4 and y equals 28. Let's go ahead and write that. So we have x over y, because they vary directly, equals 4 over 28. What is the value of x when y is 84? So we'll have x. From here, we're going to cross multiply. 4 times 84 is 336. And 28 times x is 28x. From here, we want to get x by itself. So the opposite of multiplying is dividing. So we're going to divide each term by 28. 28x divided by 28 is 1x. 336 divided by 28 is 12. So x equals 12. 6. 2c. The graph of the linear function is shown on the grid. Write an equation in point-slope form using the point 4, -7. Point-slope equation. So we have a graph and we have a point. We do not have the slope yet, so we have to find the slope before we can find our point-slope equation. So we're going to draw our triangle using the 2 points. Each square is skip counting by ones. So let's see our rise. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 in our run, 1. Our squares are skip counted by ones on both the x-axis and the y-axis. This is a negative slope. It's decreasing. So our slope, m, is going to be -5/1. That equals -5. So from here, we're going to write the point-slope equation. Let's recall the formula from before. We have y minus y1 equals mx minus x1. From here, we're going to plug it in. So we have y minus -7. The two negatives cancel, they become a positive. So y plus 7 equals m, which is -5, parentheses x minus 4. We have x1 and y1 right here. M is -5, x1 was 4, and y1 was -7. These two negatives make a positive. And that's your point-slope equation. Number 7, 2C. The table represents some points on the graph of a linear function. Write equations in point-slope form. Y minus y1 equals m, parentheses x minus x1, using these points. First, we're going to do -30, -142. But before we write any equations, we need to find our slope. So let's find the change in y and the change in x. From -142 to 42, that is plus 100. From -42 to -32, that is plus 10. On the other side, we have from -30 to -20, that's plus 10. From -20 to -19, that's plus 1. So the change in y over the change in x is going to be positive 100 over positive 10. That equals positive 10 over positive 1. So notice, if we use this change in y over this change in x, you get the same thing as if you put in this change in y over this change in x. So your slope is just 10. That's your rate of change. So now we're going to use the points. -30, -142. So this is x1, this is y1. Plug it into the formula. Y minus y1, which is -142. The two negatives make a positive, so you put y plus 142 equals our slope 10, parentheses x minus -30. So we have x plus 30. And that's our point slope for this point. Now let's use another point. We have y plus 42 equals 10, parentheses, x plus 20. And then we have the last one. Y plus 32 equals 10, parentheses, x plus 19. If you were to solve for y for all three of these equations, you should get the same answer. And that slope-intercept equation would be y equals 10x plus 158. If you don't believe it, go ahead and try out all three of these. Eight, 2C. An organization has a monthly budget of X dollars. Each month, $3,160 is spent on salaries. 1/2 of the remaining budget is spent on monthly activities. Write a function that can be used to find the amount in dollars spent on monthly activities. So from here, let's go ahead and highlight our important words. So it has monthly budget, X dollars. Every month, $3,160 is spent on salaries. 1/2 of the remaining budget is spent on monthly activities. So we have $3,160 and X dollars. So we have X for the total budget. That's the monthly budget. And then we have $3,160 for salaries. And salaries from the budget. And then we're going to have 1/2 of remaining budget. And we'll call that f of x. So, x is the monthly budget. The monthly budget is bigger than the amount of money they give for the salaries from the budget. So to get the remaining budget, you have x minus $3,160. We're spending 1/2 of that remaining budget for monthly activities. That's f of x. So that is your answer. That is your equation. Number 9, 2b. What is the equation and slope-intercept form of the line that passes through the points -359 and 5, -29? For this one, we want to plug it into the slope formula. M equals y2 minus y1 all over x2 minus x1. So first, we want to label our points. x1, y1, x2, y2. Plug it into the formula. You should get this. From here, we have two negatives. That makes a positive. So we have -88 over 5 plus 3. We have -88 over 8. That equals -11. That's our slope M. Now we need to find B. To find B, let's go ahead and plug this in and use the point slope formula. So we have y minus 59 equals -11 parentheses x plus 3. Step 1, distribute that -11 into each term. So we have y minus 59 equals -11x minus 33. To get the y by itself, we add 59 to each expression, to both sides of the equation. So we have b equals 26 because 59 minus 33 is 26. So our slope-intercept equation is y equals negative 11x plus 26. Number 10, 2D. The value of y is directly proportional to the value of x. If y equals 21 and x equals 133, what is the value of y when x equals 91? First, you set up your proportion because it says directly proportional. So we have y over x. So we have 21 over 133 equals y over 91. We're going to cross multiply. So 91 times 21 is 1,911. And then that equals 133y. To get y by itself, we divide each term by 133. And that is approximately 14.37. Number 12. 12b. Let f of x equal 7x squared minus 7x. Find f of negative 3. So you're going to want to use a calculator for this. Wherever you see an x, you replace it with parentheses, negative 3. Do not forget those parentheses. So you plug this into the calculator. You'll get 84. Now, if you don't put parentheses, if you just put this, you would get something like negative 42. And that is not the correct answer. So make sure that you put those parentheses. Parentheses matter. (13) 3a. The slope of the line that passes through the points negative 4w and negative 10,9 is 1/7. What is the value of w? So it says slope, so we're going to use the slope formula. So let's label x1, y1, x2, y2, and then recall your formula from before. So after we've recalled the formula, let's go ahead and plug in our values. So we plugged in our values and we know the slope m is 1/7. So this equals 1/7. So we've set up our proportion. The two negatives make a positive, so negative 10 plus 4 is negative 6. So rewrite this. From here, you're going to cross multiply and solve for w. So we have 9 times 7, 63. 7 times negative w is negative 7w, and that equals negative 6. We want to get w by itself, so let's subtract 63 from each expression. 63 minus 63 is 0. Negative 6 minus 63 is negative 69. To get w by itself, we divide each term by -7. So when you divide that -7, w divided by -7 is 1w. And the two negatives make a positive. 69 divided by 7 is approximately 9.86. So that would be w. (14) 2b. Write the equation in point-slope form that has a slope of -5 using the point 13, 7. So we're going to label m is the slope, -5, and then our point is x1, y1. Let's plug it into the point-slope formula. So after we've recalled the formula, let's go ahead and plug it in. We have y minus 7 equals -5 parentheses x minus 13. And that's your point-slope equation. Number 15, 4a. Create a title, independent and dependent variables that could go with the correlation. Describe the correlation, such as positive, negative, strong, weak. So a title could be summer. The independent variable could be ice cream. The dependent variable could be, or what would be better, the independent variable could be the heat, and the dependent variable could be the ice cream sales. Create one of these of your own. Write something down for each of these three blanks. Now this correlation. This is a positive correlation. The points are pretty close together in a linear line, so it is positive strong. (16) 2g. The graph of a linear function is shown on the grid below. Is this a Hoy or a Vux? This is a horizontal line, so it is a Hoy. So that means the slope is 0 because of the 0 in the Hoy. The equation, we have a y for Hoy, so it's y equals -1. 17. 2b. Write an equation in standard form, ax plus by equals c, where a, b, and c are integers, that has a graph that passes through the point -9, 2. It has a slope of 4/3. So first we want to write it in point-slope form. So we're going to label everything x1, y1. This is your m. Let's recall the formula for point-slope. So we have y minus y1, which is 2, equals 4/3 parentheses x minus -9. So we have x plus 9. Distribute the 4/3 into each term. So we have y minus 2 equals 4/3 x plus 9 divided by 3 is 3. 3 times 4 is 12. So we have plus 12. To get y by itself, let's add 2 to each expression. So I have y equals 4/3 x plus 14. So that's our slope-intercept form, but we want standard form. So we need to move the x to the other side. So let's do minus 4/3 x minus 4/3 x. Do not line it up with the y because they are different terms. So we have negative 4/3 x plus 1y equals 14. We're not done yet because a, b, and c have to be integers. This fraction is not an integer. 3 does not go into 4 evenly. So we have to multiply each term by 3 to get rid of the denominator. We have negative 4x plus 3y equals 42. And that is our standard form equation. 18. 2c. At a restaurant, jars of tomato sauce are stored and boxed in the pantry. Each box contains 12 jars of tomato sauce. Each box contains 12 jars of tomato sauce. A cook uses 4 jars from one of the boxes. Write a function that shows the relationship between y, the total number of jars of tomato sauce remaining in the pantry, and x, the number of boxes in the pantry. So let's go ahead and box our numbers. We have 12 jars. They use 4 jars from one box. And we have y, number of jars, and x, number of boxes. So let's go ahead and write out our givens. So our givens, the x is the boxes and the y is the jars. We know that each box has 12 jars. That basically means we have 12 x's. 12 jars per box. And then we have y, the y jars. We have 4 jars that were used. So that means we're going to have minus 4. So our equation is y equals 12x minus 4 to get the total number of jars left in the pantry. 19. 2D. In an electrical circuit, the voltage across a resistor is directly proportional to the current running through the resistor. If a current of 12 amps produces 360 volts across a resistor, how many volts would a current of 2.5 amps produce across an identical resistor? So we see the words directly proportional. What does that mean? That means we set up a proportion. So let's do amps over volts. So we're going to have amps, volts. So let's write that out. We have 12 amps for 360 volts. That's going to equal 2.5 amps over some kind of number for volts. Let's call it V. So we're going to cross multiply and divide by 12. So we have 900 equals 12V. Divide each term by 12. And then we get 75. 75 volts. 20. 2C. The graph below shows the relationship between the number of gallons of fuel remaining in a truck and the number of hours the truck has been driven. What does the x-intercept of the graph represent? Well, first let's find the x-intercept. That's right here. We have 20, 0. That's the x-intercept. So the x-intercept's basically saying when we've driven 20 hours, we're out of fuel. And let's find the y-intercept. That's what crosses the y-axis. That's at 0, 200. That basically means the initial amount of gallons before they start driving. So after this, after you're done with the review, play the Kahoot, show your work as needed in the boxes provided. Turn this in before the test. Good luck on the test.